it's a bit out of place compared to how other people react when we walk past.
No, not really. We're just being the same as all other citizens.
These are the reasons why our attention's been drawn to you, and the reason why I've just come over to just carry out what's called a stopping account, just to see what you're up to, make sure everything's all okay, make sure you don't need police for anything, and make sure you're not to no good, because there are quite a lot of people up to no good around here as well.
Yeah, we're just going to get food.
Okay, no problem. And do you live around here?
No, from Liverpool.
So you've arrived from Liverpool recently, or?
Been here for 2 weeks.
Okay.
We're leaving today.
Are you both from Liverpool, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. Do you have any ID on you then?
No, I don't, you know.
No? So you've come all the way from Liverpool with no ID? I'll take your details in, if that's okay.
I don't really want to give you my details, to be honest, mate.
I mean, a lot of the time, if people haven't got anything to worry about or anything,
I have got nothing to worry about.
Then they're happy to comply. It just makes the encounter.
I'd rather not.
Sweeter and easier.
I'd rather not.
Right.
From the very beginning, this officer shows exactly why so many people distrust street policing. His reason for stopping Shem, the way you reacted to seeing us. People react differently for all sorts of reasons. Nerves, annoyance, even just surprise. But to treat a simple look or body language as suspicious enough to trigger a stop is pure speculation, not policing. What follows is even worse. After asking where Shem is from, the officer starts implying wrongdoing based solely on geography, questioning why someone would come from Liverpool without ID. This kind of logic is nonsense. There's no law requiring people to carry ID, and certainly no law that says travel without it is suspicious. The officer is clearly trying to manufacture a reason to escalate the stop. And when Shem calmly refuses to give his details, the officer pulls out the oldest manipulation trick in the book. If you've got nothing to hide, you should be happy to comply.
And listen, there's no power for me to enforce on you to give me your details, so I'm not going to get silly about it. But there's obviously, it might suggest to me there's a reason why you don't want to.
There is no reason, I'd just rather not. I've been through a lot with the police, I don't really trust the police. I'd rather not give you my details, unless I'm legally obliged to. I'm not legally obliged to give you my name, so I'm not going to.
Okay, no problem. No problem. How come you've got quite a big, thick coat on today then?
Because we've been out since 6 in the morning, and this morning it was cold.
Right, okay.
Yeah, we've just come from the gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, and have you got anything on you that you shouldn't have?
No, I haven't.
No?
No.
Okay. Well, your mate's being searched in a minute, so... You're still cold, are you?
Not really, it's a bit warm now, like.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? I've got it now.
The fixation on Shem's coat is telling. Rather than taking his explanation at face value that he came from the gym and has been wearing the coat since this morning, the officer latches onto it like it's incriminating evidence. Why? Because deep down he's likely thinking he's probably hiding something in there. That line of thought isn't based on evidence. It's based on assumption. And in policing, assumptions without grounds quickly lead to abuse of power. This officer isn't engaging in reasonable suspicion, he's grasping. When one justification doesn't stick, he shifts to another. First, it's the coat. Then it's the lack of ID. Then, it's Shem's reaction to seeing officers. Each point on its own falls apart under scrutiny. But together, they form a flimsy net cast by someone determined to catch something.
I didn't even see you pull up there till you called me. I only seen you down there, and even he said, how come you were staring at the van? And he's probably already told you. We were looking at the tactical support group, and I asked him, what does that mean?
Try that one more time. Have another read of that.
Alright, give me a shout if you need it.
Oh, territorial.
There we go, mate.
Sorry.
Yeah. My mate asked you if you've been arrested before.
Yeah.
Have you been arrested before?
Yeah.
What was that for?
I've just got out of jail. I got a not guilty. I've just got out 6 weeks ago.
So you were remanded for court and then you got a not guilty?
Yeah, this is what I was on the TV show for.
Oh, right.
I was on the run for like 9 years.
You were on the run for 9 years?
And then I found martial arts. I used martial arts to change my life from what I used to do before.
What were you on the run for?
It was an aggravated burglary. And I just got a not guilty. I've only been out for 6 weeks. How does he
I spoke
get?
to my colleague. From standing here talking to you, I have been able to smell cannabis coming from between the two of us. And that's
not on
even
us.
when I've given the opportunity for other people to walk past and stuff, like other people to like leave.
And you smell cannabis on me?
Well, I can smell it in the air as well, mate. It's
not on
lingering
me.
a lot.
When
You can't
there's
smell
nobody else
cannabis on
around,
me,
so I'll give
mate.
you the benefit of that.
This is where the officer's desperation becomes crystal clear. After failing to get Shem on attitude, ID, or even clothing, he pulls out the last resort excuse, the smell of cannabis. But here's the problem. If the smell was truly so obvious, why wasn't the first thing he mentioned when he approached them? Why go through questions about where Shem's from and what he's wearing before suddenly claiming he smells drugs? It's because he didn't until he realized he had no lawful grounds to act, and Shem knows it. When he challenges a second officer, asking if he smells cannabis on him, that officer doesn't back him up, nor does he say yes. Instead, he dodges entirely. I can smell it in the air. That's the dead giveaway. If you're alleging reasonable suspicion for a search based on smell, but even your colleague won't confirm it's coming from the individuals, you've got nothing. This isn't suspicion, it's invention. A weak excuse used far too often to push through unlawful stop and search.
That coupled with your behaviour, okay, combined,
what's wrong with my
specifically
behaviour?
you, because I'm dealing with you, the fact that you did, upon seeing us, look back a couple of times, you've suddenly sort of turned around when you've probably realised we're closing in and maybe coming over to speak to you.
You're just
you
making
put your
this
hands
up
out
now,
of
mate.
sight. I'm not making anything up. You've turned around.
This is
When my
fabrication,
colleague-
mate.
when my
All of
colleague-
that's
When my colleague
allowed,
asked you what you was doing
bollocks.
over here, I mean, you know, it's not in the best condition, is it?
Lad, I was looking at on the wall and saying to me, mate, look at that.
Okay, well that's
We don't need to
that,
watch
in my
over our
opinion,
shoulder.
that, in
This
my
is why
opinion,
no
is a
one wants to
little bit-
deal with you,
is a
because
little
look at
bit
the
of
stuff you're saying.
Because not many other people, again, are reacting to that when they're walking
Well,
past.
we
it.
did.
So I'm not saying that you're lying, but all of these things combined, the fact that I can smell cannabis and your behaviour, and the fact you're in an area where
There's
there's quite
nothing
a
wrong
high
with my
use
behaviour,
of
mate.
cannabis and quite a lot of drug crime.
That's
I'm
nothing to
gonna
do with
detain
me.
you for
We're
a
not
search
from
for
here.
drugs.
So I'm being detained right now.
Yeah, you're detained for a search for drugs, and it's under Section
And you're not
23 of the
gonna find
New
no
Drugs
drugs.
Act. Alright, I'm PC Shenray from Chadwell Heath TSG. You're entitled to a copy which you can have now within 3 months. You are detained while I search you. Again, another reason is you're wearing quite a thick coat, and it's...
So I'm
it's
being
only
detained because I'm
21
wearing a
degrees
thick
and it's
coat.
sunny.
Did
That's
you just
one
say
of my
that?
grounds.
One of the reasons, and the other one's me behaviour.
And the
That's
smell.
right.
I haven't done
The fact
nothing
that I can smell
suspicious,
cannabis
mate.
coming
No.
from you.
No, you can't smell no cannabis from
You
me.
are detained for those reasons. Okay,
don't
if you have
smoke
any questions,
cannabis.
please feel free to ask me. Do you have anything on you that you shouldn't have?
No.
Okay.
The officer invokes Section 23 of the Misuse of Drugs Act to detain Shem for a search, citing 2 laughably weak grounds that he's wearing a thick coat in 21 degrees weather and his behavior. But let's break that down. Wearing a coat, no matter the temperature, is not suspicious. People dress for all kinds of personal reasons, comfort, fitness routines, even just coming from a gym like Shem clearly explained. Using clothing as a standalone factor for suspicion is not only lazy policing, it's profiling. As for his behavior, Shem was calm, composed, and well within his rights to decline giving personal information. Exercising your legal rights is not suspicious behavior. In fact, what's truly suspicious is an officer who uses perfectly lawful conduct as grounds to initiate a search.
Therefore, we're putting a complaint in on this, like, because this isn't on this, mate.
That's absolutely fine. You're more than entitled to complain if you're not happy with the services that you've received today.
Obviously not.
I know it's not nice being searched.
Come on, man.
I know it's an intrusion of your day and your privacy, perhaps.
Whereabouts are you?
Got quite a high amount of cash. What's this for?
Is that illegal as well?
Well, potentially.
Me living.
I don't know, do I? It could be not many people walk around with this much cash in them.
Well, I do.
So, okay. How much is there?
Probably about, I come down with £2,000.
So what number's the arrest?
So whatever I've spent on me hope.
Do you not have bank cards or anything?
Nah, just cash me. How can I have a bank account if I don't have a passport? I'm still fighting to get my passport back off the police.
While the officer continues searching Shem, and clearly isn't turning up anything of substance, he pivots to a new angle, questioning the amount of cash Shem is carrying. Suddenly, the focus becomes a nearly 2,000 pounds on him, with the officer remarking that not many people walk around with this much cash. It's a weak attempt to shift suspicion, clearly grasping at anything to validate a search that's going nowhere. But Shem quickly puts that narrative to rest. When asked why he doesn't have a bank card, he reminds the officer, as he already explained, that he's just come out of jail and is still waiting to get his passport and documents back from police. The context is crystal clear. Yet, the officer presses on, ignoring facts already given just to keep the pressure on.
Saying to wear this jacket, he said,
take the circumstances as they are as a whole, rather than just pick one item that you don't like about it.
I don't like all of it, mate. I don't agree with any of it. I'm not agreeing with the search even.
Like my colleague said, we appreciate that it's
This is why no one wants to deal with it, bro.
It's not about what people want to do with us, it's about who to speak to.
This is why the community don't comply. You were alright, you should probably get compliance. I'm not complying with the search. I don't want to be searched. I do not want to be searched. No, I do not want to be searched.
That's all. But you're not resisting, you're being compliant.
It's against us. Another thing, you're wearing what looks like a big lady to a balaclava or something. What is the purpose of that? I've basically meant exactly how I've just asked that question. I don't know.
I'm using it to keep the threads neat. Is that alright with you?
Well, you're giving me a confront, so that's fine.
That's why no one wants to deal with the police. Horrible, mate. Just walking to get a scran. There's 20 minutes out of your day. Cheeky.
This entire episode is a masterclass in how easily police powers can be misused when they're driven not by evidence, but by presumption and prejudice. First, the justification for initiating the stop, the way you reacted to seeing us. That vague, subjective nonsense has no legal weight. People are allowed to look surprised, confused, or even annoyed when officers suddenly start watching them. Human behavior isn't probable cause, but the officer clearly wasn't looking for reason. He was looking for compliance. When that failed, he doubled down by fishing for ID, asking where Shem was from, and deploying that tired old line. If you got nothing to hide, you have no problem telling us. That's not law, it's manipulation. Then came the coat. The officer fixated on the fact Shem was wearing a thick coat in 21 degrees heat, as if that alone was a basis for suspicion. It's not. It's desperate. And worse, it exposed the officer's mindset. Not one rooted in objective policing, but in confirmation bias. He wanted Shem to be hiding something, so he looked at an outfit choice as evidence. That's not grounds. That's guessing. And when all else failed, the officer suddenly smelled cannabis. But let's not forget this wasn't mentioned until well after the conversation had already been going. If the smell was so obvious, why wasn't brought up immediately? Why did another officer admit he could only smell it in the air, not on Shem or his friend directly? Because it was likely a fallback excuse, a weak justification thrown in when nothing else was working. Shem, with clarity and composure, explained his situation. Coming out of jail trying to get his passport back, dealing with real-world complications. But again, that wasn't enough for the officer, who seemed determined to make something stick. In the end, nothing did. The search produced nothing. No drugs, no weapons, no wrongdoing. Just two men walking to get food who had their time, privacy, and dignity trampled on for the simple crime of not bowing down fast enough. And that's the real story here. This wasn't about enforcing the law. It was about using vague powers and hunches to enforce obedience. From shaky stop and account logic to the coat excuse to the weaponized smell of cannabis to the attempt to shame someone for carrying their own money. Every step of this was a reminder of how power can be stretched when officers aren't held to account. Shem's closing words nailed it. That's why no one wants to deal with the police. Not because people hate law enforcement, but because too often these interactions feel less like protection and more like persecution. And unless there's real accountability for moments like this, that trust will only erode further. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue with my independent coverage. His channel is linked in the description. Show him some love. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.